Hello, beautiful people. I am here with my weekly Wednesday night live on Dreams. I'm really excited to be here and connect with you all. I did not give a heads up on this. Well, I guess I did a few days ago, but I did not send a reminder, so I'll see who I get here live. But what I titled this dream or this live essentially is dream intention. So I want to just touch bases on essentially, what you will get out of writing your dreams, paying attention to your dreams. I will share what I personally intended when I began to really devote my energy and awareness to my dreams. And then hopefully I'll have some people join that will ask some questions. And so we can get some sort of organic flow. So it's just going to be me tonight. Oh, and of course, Mary. Hey, Mary just joined. So just to share with you all before I get into what I'm going to talk about for tonight, I currently have my dream notes, Urania's dream notes available, which essentially is a 25-page guide, a PDF guide. So it's an instant download when you purchase it. But essentially, these were the notes that I created when I facilitated the Dream Circle. And so the topics that I go over or that I present in the guide, essentially, there are a bunch of different topics. But just to name a few, we have dream recall, dream and astrology, so how to connect with your own astrology and what's going on in the astrological weather or transits, and being able to connect that with your dream practice. Also, bedtime ritual, also practices on your different ways to reflect on your dreams after you have been journaling them for some time, as well as your dream symbols, which is something I might touch on today, because I think that everyone I know, just from connecting with people in their dreams, they have their unique dream symbols. So that's really cool when you start to dive into your dreams more and paying attention to them more consistently, especially if you write them down. You will gain insight to your unique dream symbols. And dream symbols essentially are what I'm referring to as basically the symbols that recur throughout your different dreams. So one of mine is a car. So whenever I have a dream that references a car or reference some sort of movement, I tend to pay attention to those dreams, even if I'm not actively writing them. I think I had one this morning in which I remember I didn't have transportation and I was at a party or a gathering with someone else. And it was a discussion of, how are we going to get home? And I remember saying that my mother's going to pick us up. I just have to call her. And it was a whole thing. Like, I never called her, and I ended up possibly getting a ride from someone else that was there. And it was just an interesting focus. And so I didn't write it down, but as you can see, it's something that kind of stuck with me, because again, the car symbolism in transportation is really significant within my own dream space. And so I'm curious of what does that mean? Like, what's going on? So I'll see if I have any recurring or similar dreams to what I experience as far as like a car and driving. Also, I will say that I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? It was pertaining to the dream symbols. And I didn't even medicate today. So maybe it will come back to me. And give me a second. Car, dream symbols. Okay. So hopefully it will come back. So, what I'm going to talk about tonight is dream intentions. So why even, or when I mention, or when I refer to dream intentions, what I mean by that is essentially, what is the point of, what's the reason you would follow your dreams or essentially write your dreams? Why is it important? Why should we care about it? Especially since dreams sometimes tend to not really make any sense a lot of times. And I know when people begin to really pay attention to their dreams, they tend to have those, or take note first of the really uncomfortable dreams. Like, they can be nightmares, they can be anxiety induced dreams. And I feel that those dreams tend to come to the forefront first. Maybe not for everybody, but for a lot of people that I've connected with. So with that in mind, what's the big deal of, recording and writing our dreams and following, the flow of our dreams? And so I will share my intention of why I did this. And so I began, I would say, this journey as far as, okay, so let me just give a disclosure. I have always had really vivid dreams, crazy dreams, and I would never write them down. Every so often I would write them, and I would write them immediately upon waking up, which is what, we're instructed to do. However, when I did that, I would have my journal next to my bed, and it literally, the few times I've done it, every single time, I don't know why I do this, but I ended up writing over, something that was already written in my journal. So when I come out, like when I wake back up, after going back to sleep and then waking up in the morning, and I look at my journal, and I'm so excited because I can kind of remember the dream, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to, relive this dream. And I look, and I can't read it. I just can't read it. And so I have gotten discouraged when it comes to reading when it comes to writing and reading my dreams. But I always have had profound dreams. I've also always been very prone to having sleep paralysis. Also, astral projection has happened unintended a couple times. And so my dream space is very, very active. I don't like napping, because those are the times usually when I will have sleep paralysis or have some sort of astral projection. And, but I don't really recall dreaming much during the naps. But that's for a different live that I am definitely going to do here soon at some point on sleep paralysis. So if you're watching this and you want to chat about sleep paralysis, or you have any questions about that and astral projection, definitely let me know. Leave them in the comment of the replay so that I can take note, and I will definitely do a live on that. So if you're just tuning in, I titled this live Dream Intentions, and essentially I want to talk about why it is significant and powerful to write your dreams, right? And to also not only write them, but go back and do some sort of interpretation and reflection with the dreams, right? And with a desired intention. So as I was saying, I've always had very vivid dreams, but never really took any inspired action to actually have a practice of writing them. And it wasn't until I would say it was spring, summer this year, in which I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to write my dreams. I'm going to pay attention to them. And so what led me even to that realization, or that intention to do, or conviction to do this, was I had done a 28-day ritual, essentially, of getting, or really merging with my higher self. Just stepping into a more evolved aspect of myself, right? And so once you do a 28-day ritual or a 28-day practice of any kind, that really will inspire you to continue to do something within that time frame, something consistent, something that is more of like a ritual type experience in connection with the moon cycle, because I don't know what it is, and I know you guys get it, but there's something about the energy and the cycle of the moon, and really working with self-transformation within ritual, working with magic and herbs and journaling, and just being really intentional in that period of time. And so once I did that 28-day ritual, which a lot of that focus was also on, or the main focus essentially was clearing my chakras and getting those aligned, then it just spontaneously happened, in which I started the reading that I was doing, because I was also doing a lot with activating my psychic centers and clearing everything out, getting everything moving, because I really just, my ultimate goal was to really be in alignment with my divine self, higher self, so that I could live essentially a better life and make better decisions. And so naturally, I stumbled upon two women who basically focus on precognitive, which precognitive is psychic, right? But precognitive, like dreams, like paying attention to your dreams and different activities within activating these higher aspects of consciousness within yourself. And so with that said, I sat with what was coming up, right? What I was inspired to do. Hello, welcome in. And my three main intentions for writing my dreams, for beginning a dream practice, was one, to access hidden aspects of myself. And so that is something that is major when it comes to the dream world, the dream space. That is a place in which you are directly connected with your unconscious self. That is a place where your unconscious self thrives. And I love just even thinking about that. And I love tapping into that space. And even when I think about it now, I'm visualizing myself as my unconscious self and doing the things in the dream space and really being present with that. That was my goal. I want to be present with this aspect of myself. I want to learn more about the hidden parts of myself. And initially I knew that there was some really deep healing that was going to come with this, because as we know that the unconscious self could have some aspects of, repressed emotions, repressed trauma, even things that it might really give you insight to, traumas, or even, divine insight that's happened through, generations. Like, so ancestral healing and connection will come also through the dream space. So when I sat with this practice and my intentions, because I always begin any type of ritual or practice, whether it be one night, like a full moon or something like that, or a 28-day practice, I always sit with my why first. Why am I doing this? What are my desires? What do I intend to achieve, right? And being very clear about that, so I have a very direct focus and I don't get distracted during these moments. And I'm someone who really needs to be like, I need that awareness. I need that direction, because I tend to wander and daydream, and I can get a little lost in that way. And so it's really good to understand the why am I doing this? So accessing my unconscious self was major. The second reason, which is also along the lines of accessing the hidden self and hidden aspects of self, is to gain insight to the future. So I really wanted to, like I said, I was already in this process of really connecting with my clair abilities, like, clairvoyance, clairaudience, all of those clairs, the psychic centers and the psychic abilities. So naturally, I was like, oh my goodness, I haven't really done anything in the dream space. And the dream space really holds, the key to the unknown, so potential for the future. So I really want to connect with psychic dreams. I really want to experience that. And so that was a pretty important goal that I had when I started my dream practice, was to gain insight into the future. And so essentially, as I just mentioned, we're connecting within the dream space with our unconscious self and hidden aspects of self. So while there is repressed trauma there's also information there as well that it's unlocked potential, right? Or it's there's information in which that can be accessed that holds potential of, the way reality might manifest, if that makes sense. And so what that essentially meant for me and the way it came off in my studies at the time with the precognitive practices is that one of the ladies that I was listening to that has a book on this and a book on a dream dictionary and everything, they mention informational time travel. And this is what is helpful when it comes to your dreams and being able to make sound decisions, or quote unquote right decisions through your dreams, right? Through what you gain in your dreams. And that's done by accessing this informational energy, these different potentials of reality. And so they called this informational time travel. And essentially you may gain information, or, there might be something that comes forth in a dream that sticks with you and awakens something within you, and you have this conscious awareness of, okay, I got this message, or I had this feeling, which is usually how it comes forth as a feeling, to go towards this thing, right? And maybe something that happens very recent within the time you have the dream, and when that thing presents itself, it's like, oh, this looks familiar, I'm going to choose this, or I'm going to talk to this person, or I'm going to go here. And that sets you on a quote unquote higher timeline, or your divine path, or just in the direction that is the quote unquote right direction, right? And that to me feels like being in alignment with your divine timeline, if that makes sense. And so that was very, very desirable for me. And that also just really anchored in this ability to make the right decisions, right? Or to have an ability to make better decisions by getting in connection with my unconscious self. And so by getting in connection with my unconscious self, I am then able to, one, work on the trauma, right, on a deeper level, on an unconscious level, work on that trauma and bring it into my conscious awareness, right? And then I'm able to heal those elements of myself, while simultaneously I'm able to access information, or even through the process of healing, I am really in a state in which I just make better decisions. So I don't know, I hope that kind of makes sense to you guys, as far as why it is very powerful to write your dreams and to reflect on them and interpret them. And I can definitely give an example of how that's been very helpful in my life. I've been talking about it a lot as far as one of the dreams I've had, but mine has literally been centered around identity, independence, and freedom, which was funny because that is literally pretty much what my sole intention was when approaching my dream space. And so overall, I feel, despite your intention, or in addition to your intention, whatever that might be for recording your dreams and interpreting your dreams, is that by doing this practice, by having a process in which you write your dreams and interpret, you just naturally integrate both aspects of yourself, right? So you're integrating your unconscious self with your conscious self, because that unconscious self, you're making a direct connection within your dreams and waking up and writing that. And the reflection and the interpretation is the point in which that conscious self merges with the unconscious self. So within that act alone of just practicing that, even if you don't necessarily just do, say, if, for me, my dream inspired me to, legally change my name and do all of these things to really anchor in my independence, even though I didn't have to go that route. And maybe I didn't have to go that route, but the act of connecting with what was unseen within myself and then bringing that into the conscious awareness, that together really brought me integration with my whole self, even if I didn't technically have to go through the whole name change and all of that. But that is what ultimately happens when you follow your dreams and you write your dreams. You end up merging both aspects of yourself, unconscious and conscious aspects. And so what's really interesting this week is that so every week I pull an oracle card, and this week I received the this oracle of mugwort dreams, right? And I really have an interesting relationship with mugwort. Mugwort is definitely one of those herbs when it comes to doing any type of dream work. People are like, drink mugwort tea, smoke mugwort. Mugwort is, the go-to. I would say mugworts, blue lotus. I feel passion flower helps me a lot because it really relaxes me in a place or in a state in which I am able to not go to bed anxious. That's one of the things I've definitely noticed by paying attention to my dreams. I know the type of dreams that I had that are induced by going to bed in anxiety. Even if I don't feel that I'm anxious, sometimes your body is very tense and you haven't had a time to relax. And so if you go to bed when your physical body is tense and unable to relax until you're in that moment where you're like, then that I notice for myself that tends to trickle into my dreams. And so it's definitely something, as far as having a bedtime ritual, that's something that really is very beneficial when you're doing any dream work, right? But with the mugwort, so the mugwort is really interesting because I actually enjoy mugwort if I, for some reason, want to lucid dream. Whenever I drink mugwort tea, I do not really sleep well. Like, I'm not rested. I feel that I'm always in that in-between space. And those of you that are watching live, if you have had any experience with mugwort, I would love to hear about that, because I know a lot of people recommend it, and I know a lot of people try it. Whenever I smoke mugwort, like say in like a herbal joint, I don't have that that restless sleep as I do when I drink it before bed. And so if you want to lucid dream, I would definitely recommend mugwort. I also like to add it in dream sachets if I'm doing like any kind of ritual, like say I like to do this when Mercury's retrograde and it's having its Kazemi moment, which is its alignment with the sun, its conjunction with the sun. When Mercury's retrograde specifically, I like to create like a little herbal bag, which is called a sachet, and I'll throw mugwort in there. I'll throw lavender, maybe like some passion flower or demiana in a crystal, and sometimes I'll write an intention and I'll sleep with that underneath my pillow. And that's a really fun way to connect with your dreams. And I will say it definitely works, as I've done this in the past, where they call this dream incubation. And basically what I just described, as far as writing down your question before you go to bed, or maybe your intention, like if you're asking for healing or something of that nature, write it down. You don't even have to put it in a fancy bag, but it's fun to like kind of, amplify the energy. But write it down and put it underneath your pillow. And I like to do it with like a crystal, at least with the letter. And as I'm laying in bed, I will, state my intention, or whatever I wrote in the letter, I will like speak that aloud, or just say it in my head. And when I do that, then I usually get some sort of answer. Either it's happened in my dreams before, but usually I get it through some other means. And mind you, when I've done this before, I wasn't really doing a strict dream practice. So I'm definitely going to do that when Mercury, during this Mercury retrograde cycle that comes forth. But I've done it several years ago. I wrote down that I wanted to meet my spirit guides. And I wrote down that I wanted to know, because I knew it was several, so I wanted to know my spirit team in order of dominance. So who's the most dominant, who's the most like powerful, or the strongest connection, and then, go down from there. And so I didn't have it in a dream. However, I want to say it was within a week. It could have been within 3 days. I was doing these deep meditations, like deep trance, 45-minute long meditations. And I received an answer to my question, and I have it written down. Like, I came out of the meditation, wrote down my spirit guides in order of dominance, and I was completely blown away. So I really do, I can say that there's definitely power in writing any type of question, or asking for healing, writing it down and putting it like underneath your pillow at night when you go to sleep. And so I will be doing that with this Mercury retrograde with my dream practice. So I think that's going to be really fun. So when it comes to writing your dreams, my recommendation, as far as gaining any information, or what I mentioned before too, is that when you begin to write your dreams and interpret them, you will see that there will be specific symbols that repeat, right? That recur. And so everyone tends to have their own dream symbols, right? And so for me, mine is, funny enough, a car. So my birth name is Portia, and my mom named me after a car, which is just, I don't know, that's a whole thing. And when I started paying attention to my dreams, when I made a direct connection, or a direct, connection with my unconscious self, saying that, hey, I want to connect with you. I want to learn from you. I want to know, like, what guidance do you have for me, right? And of course I was like, I want to know the future, or like, I want to know the future so I can be helpful, not only for myself, but people that I care about and people that connect with me. And so before I got any of the fun stuff, but what was along the lines of my core intention, and that's independence and freedom and merging with my divine self, I was given my symbol within multiple dreams, and that symbol was a car, which when I thought about it, I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense, because when you read about what cars mean in dreams, it actually represents your, just where you are as far as being in control of your life. So they tend to tell you, if you're seeing cars in your dream, they tell you to pay attention to who is driving the car, what the car looks like, what's the environment and such. And when I began the dreams, having the different the dreams with the car symbol, I was very rarely driving the car, even though it was definitely clear that it was my car for most of the time. And so that really stood out to me. And another symbol that I have repeatedly, and it only happens when I need a strong emotional release, but it's very, it was just really strange to me. But I always have dreams when I need a strong emotional purge, or it's coming up. I always have dreams in which I cannot find a bathroom. Like, I really have to go pee and I can't find a bathroom. And usually I'm always in a public restroom, right? So there's multiple stalls. So I'll see myself going through the multiple stalls and they're dirty, or just, I don't know. There's always something, but it's like a struggle to use the bathroom. And so when I looked it up through a dream dictionary, I saw that meant that you are needing an emotional release, or maybe you have been releasing a lot of emotions, depending on the context of like the bathroom and the toilets in the dream. And I think I've had it for at least 3 different times, 3 different dreams like that. I want to say more, but every time I have an emotional release within 3 days of the dream, right? And so that's one of my dream symbols. And so it's funny, when I had one recently, I knew that I was holding on to something, and I had that dream, and I was like, okay, I need to freaking emotionally purge something. I just feel like I need to just bawl like so many tears. I just need to like let it out. And it was funny because I wanted to cry, but I couldn't cry. And actually, I don't know if I ever got that strong emotional release. But I thought it was really, really interesting. So when you begin to write your dreams, you will learn your own dream symbols. And one of the things that I will also recommend is, when you look up your dream, when you look up the dream symbols, definitely take into account, of course, what the general standard meaning means. but also take into account more specifically, or more importantly, I should say, the way you feel about the symbol and your intuition about what that symbol means for you, right? And so, and then go deep with that, of course, right? And what I tend to do when I write my dreams, I will actually take note of the dream symbols and make my own dream dictionary. So that's even more powerful when you make your own dream dictionary, because while there are standard meanings to these dreams, like certain things in your life might mean something slightly different, right? Or it might amplify, as I mentioned, my dream symbol being a car, and it's amplified that I was named after a car, and when my mom named me, it was because she wanted a car, or she wanted a Porsche, but she thought that she would never have one, so she named her daughter that, so then she could say she has one. And for me, that just feels like, one, it's not about me, that I don't identify with that. And also, I've always, up until recently, I have struggled with like doing things for me, or really struggling with sharing my identity and who it is that I am, specifically with my mother, because she was very dismissive of that. And also just really showing who I am, in the public space too. So the car symbolism goes really, really deep with me. So when it comes to seeing any patterns in your dream, when you're writing your dream, I would definitely recommend, one, doing an entire dream practice. Or writing your dreams over the course of 28 days. So with the moon cycle, so it'll be easy to remember, starting with the new moon, starting to write your dreams, being very intentional about how you go to bed, like the energy that you go to bed in. So doing something that will separate, your energy of the day from the energy of the night, whether it literally just be washing your hands, washing your face, or you can be more elaborate and do like a meditation, listen to, some singing bowls or any music that's really uplifting, and it'll really get you into that like deep, dreamy space. But being very intentional before bed. And then there's a lot of other different steps that you can do for your dream practice. And if you want some guidance with that, I am currently offering a dream guide, which is the notes that I created, or the PDF guide that I created when I facilitated Dream Circle in October. And so that is an instant download if you're interested in that, and you can access that via the link in my bio. But anyways, I recommend doing a whole practice of recording your dreams for a moon cycle, and then to really gain a deep understanding of not only your dream symbols, but your dream patterns in itself. So for me, I tend to have my anxious dreams, or you could say even like nightmares, or just an onslaught of dreams that don't make sense. I tend to have those at a specific time during my own menstrual cycle. And I came into awareness with that by doing my dream practice over the course of a month, but also recording it for three months, right? 3 moon cycles. So when it comes to recognizing a pattern, you want to do something in cycles of 3, right? Because 3, you get a clear understanding or ability to recognize something when you see it in 3s, right? So that is my recommendation to doing that. But coming back to mugwort, I'm going to wrap it up with this oracle that we received, because when I saw this, it really brought to mind the waxing crescent moon in Scorpio that is going to occur, or the moon peaks in the waxing crescent phase on Saturday, whatever day that is. I think that's December 9th, I believe. And so I really feel the energy of this mugwort dreams card here. And so the keywords are rhythm, higher self, reality, and rest. And I feel that we're getting a little bit of all of this energy this week as we are bringing to a close the Scorpio lunar cycle, right? So even though we're in the season of Sagittarius, when it comes to the sun, the moon, we're still in that moon cycle connected to the Scorpio archetype, which was initiated with that new moon in Scorpio. And so this Scorpio lunar cycle comes to a close with the next new moon on Tuesday, or December 12th, which is going to be in Sagittarius. So anyways, I love that the moon will reach her waning crescent phase in Scorpio, right? So she is returning to where the cycle started, and the moon is getting darker and darker. And so what I feel with this one, the pointing to rhythm, that energetic feels like paying attention to the cycles, or even slowing down to listen to the rhythm, right? To catch the pattern, to catch the beat. And when I really began to pay attention to my dreams and write them, especially in relation to the cycle of the moon, I started to gain my own access to my own rhythm, right? And my own flow. And what, like in this period that I'm in right now, is when I'm very active, and when my dreams are, I'm not getting a bunch of dreams, but I'm having more profound dreams. And so I took note of that, right? So when you start to write your dreams and pay attention to them, you'll be able to catch that rhythm and catch the beat. And so then with the point of the higher self again brings to mind for me the whole beauty and gift of writing your dreams. I want to say following your dreams, but that seems a little bit different. But yeah, following your dreams, writing your dreams, in the sense of that act within itself is making a direct connection to your unconscious self, to your dark self, to your hidden self, right? And by connecting with that and bringing it into the light, essentially, right? Or bringing it into the conscious awareness, you're combining or integrating both aspects of yourself, your unconscious self and your conscious self, right? And by bringing those together, you are coming into your whole self, right? And so there's this process of integration, which is essentially you embodying your higher self, right? And so that's you becoming your higher self. And so that's been a very profound experience within my own practice of writing my dreams. And as I facilitated the dream circle, I saw that really come forth strongly with the people that participated. And you just gain this sense of awareness and this sense of strong confidence when you write your dreams and you follow your dreams, especially when you have nightmares or anxious dreams and you go deep with them. That's when you really gain strong confidence. And I feel that I've learned the most from those really intense anxious dreams. So reality. So reality is another key point here. And I feel this energy very strongly with the astrology this week, in which Neptune in Pisces ends its retrograde cycle, and we call that stationing direct. And so whenever a planet ends or begins their retrograde cycle, they're essentially holding their power within that point, right? Wherever they're stops, quote unquote, stopping, right? In whatever sign and whatever intention that sign brings, and the planet. And so when we take into consideration Neptune is the planet that whenever it's doing anything, whether it's about to retrograde, not retrograde, or ending its retrograde, or making a connection with another planet, it really dissolves our conscious awareness, or it dissolves our understanding of what reality really is, right? It's the process of disillusionment, right? It's the process of like the veil being removed from our eyes, the fog clearing, right? And so I really get that strong feeling this week with Neptune ending its retrograde cycle. Like I've been having a lot of aha moments, a lot of downloads. And so I really feel this keyword reality, it is bringing to focus like what's really real. And what I'm also feeling, because we have Saturn in Pisces, I'm also feeling that our fantasies, or our dreams, essentially, and dreams being like, what is it that you desire? What's that thing where you're like, oh, I'm never going to get that. I'm never going to accomplish that. Or, I'm never going to have that much money, or have, this lover, or whatever it is for you. That I feel that no longer feels impossible. I feel that this week and moving forward, there's something that's shifting within us, especially if you're someone really connected to your inner guidance, someone who's really doing the quote unquote work, like the spiritual work. I feel that if you're someone doing that, there's something shifting where the impossible seems possible, right? And with Neptune ending its retrograde cycle, I feel that that fog is beginning to clear a little bit, and Saturn is just getting its toes wet into Pisces, in the sense of trying to create some sort of structure of like all the fantasies and all the dream space. And it's really bringing forth that discernment with the ability to like, okay, what can we actually manifest, right? What can we actually create here? And so with this energy of reality, I really feel that for this week and moving forward, right? And then the next key energy is rest. And so with rest, I mean, that's a simple one, right? And when it comes to dreams, it's really important to take into account our resting period. Rest is really important. Honor that, right? Go to bed. Like when you feel tired, and this is something I'm saying to myself, go to bed. Like you don't have to, sit and sometimes I'll just sit in here and I'll sit on the floor and like listen to music and zone out and I'm falling asleep. But I don't want to just go to bed. I just want to like hang out and listen to music and zone out. And so rest is really essential. And I feel that seeing this card, the moon is getting really dark. Neptune's essentially standing still. I feel that there is something that is desiring to come through the dream space, right? Something your unconscious self is wanting to communicate with you. And Mercury is in its shadow period. It's going to begin its retrograde cycle next week. And I feel whenever Mercury retrogrades, that's a time where, we all are guided to be a bit more introspective, but I tend to take that time to go within myself and really even, I usually do a lot of meditation because I've always had resistance in, paying attention to my dreams or writing my dreams. But now, since I have this whole practice and it's ongoing, I really will set an intention to go within my dreams. And so while Mercury is in Capricorn retrograde, and it will move back into Sagittarius, but while it's in Capricorn, it's being, you could say, managed or guided by Saturn and Pisces. And so there's something there with the Saturn and Pisces influence of what's going on with Mercury in retrograde. And there's more I want to say about the Mercury retrograde, but I'm going to leave it at that. So I get the sense that we are in a bit of this lucid state right now, like in between worlds, I feel. And that could be just, that influence of Neptune and everything going on right now. Like we're coming up to a new year, but it hasn't really ended yet. So it's like we feel like it's the end of the year, but it's not the new year yet. So there's like this in-between energy that I'm feeling. And that is what I really get from mugwort. Whenever I consume mugwort, even if I'm just smoking it as an herbal joint, I do feel this looseness, this like in between, and just this very light feeling of, I was going to say ungrounded, but yeah, kind of ungrounded, but like in a really like grounded way, with it being plant medicine. So it's a really interesting experience. So the main message that I got from this oracle of mugwort dreams that really just speaks to me is it points to, as you shuffle back and forth between your sacrifices and your soul's desires, the dream and waking worlds begin to bleed over. For a second I was like, wait, what did I write? So basically, as you go back and forth between releasing and receiving your soul desires, so things that you really, really desire, like one of the things that I've learned, right, as I've been really intentional with manifestation and things of that nature, is that there are so many things that I want, right? And I tend to make a list of things that I desire and want to manifest. And when I say get enough money to get it, or the opportunity presents itself, half the time I don't even want that. I'm like, oh, well, now that I can get it, I don't really care about this. And I really want these herbs. Like, I really want to, stock my herbal cabinet. And so it's interesting I've realized that I, need to be a little bit more discerning with my desires, and more so connecting to my soul's intention, right? Which brings us back to the title and the intention of this live was dream intentions. Like, what is your why? What is your intention for what you desire, for what you are moving towards, right? And what you want to create and establish for yourself and for those that you care about or those that you connect with. And so as you really get clear of your soul's desires, naturally there are going to be things that you will sacrifice, right? Things that you are being guided to release, and be very intentional with what it is that you release, right? And as I've been talking about in my cosmic climate, I recently, I've been talking about releasing, right? It's always, when we're in this part of the moon cycle, there's always a focus on a release. And recently I've been going to a Buddhist temple. And so naturally it is talking about releasing desires. And what the Rinpoche really said that stood out to me was that, one, we have to actively release, like do some sort of, again, reminder ritual, right? Have a strong intention and be clear and direct and speak that intention of what it is that you're offering it up, what you're releasing. And in my case, it's like, okay, who am I giving this to, right? What am I doing? What actually am I intending here? And also be very, go deeper with your sacrifices, with what it is that you need to let go of. And this really stood out to me. As he mentioned, like, what are you, the most emotionally attached to? And I was sitting there in my mind, and as humans, we always want to figure it out right away. And that's another thing I've been doing, is that I want to receive. I've been learning to be patient and letting answers come to me, letting, opportunities present themselves to me, instead of being go, 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 or figure it out and do this thing. So I sat with it, and I also made the intention to receive. I'm asking divine, I'm asking my spirit guides, like, what is it that what am I holding on to? Like, I've been getting this message that I've been holding on to something. And long story short, it was literally anxiety, like my story, my narrative to my own anxiety, right? Because that has been the greatest resistance in my life. And I didn't even think about it that way, right? But just even the attachment and the story of it, right? And then everything that comes with that. And so those deep sacrifices, like that, right? Those deep sacrifices, and releasing that, and then being very intentional and connecting to your deep desires, your soul desires, that flow of energy, that action will just naturally bridge your worlds, your dream worlds and your waking worlds, right? That will bring forth the integration that I spoke about with the unconscious self and the conscious self, and coming together in your whole self, right? And so by that deep sacrifice and the deep desire and receiving, that will really bridge your dream world and your waking world, right? So we're not in this in between lucid state. Wow, this incense is really intense right now. So as you shuffle back and forth between your sacrifices and your soul's desires, the dream and waking worlds begin to bleed over. They begin to bleed into each other. And I love just the bleeding aspect. I don't know why I love that, but I feel that. I resonate with that. And the next message here, and this was in the Oracle, was your subconscious is presenting clues to your next step, right? So now is the time to really pay attention to your dreams, right? Write your dreams. And definitely, I would say Mercury retrograde, maybe you want to start writing your dreams with the new moon in Sagittarius, right? And doing that whole moon cycle of writing your dream. So then you get a little bit of Mercury retrograde in there too, and maybe you'll get a sense of, after you've done the whole cycle, you can see how, maybe Mercury retrograde had a bit of an influence with your dream space, right? And connecting with that. And especially if you have any planets in Capricorn or Sagittarius, like I have my moon in Capricorn, and the Capricorn part of my chart is very active right now up until January 20th, my birthday of 2024. So I'm definitely going to do some work with that, right? So your subconscious is presenting clues to your next step, right? So we are being guided to be a little bit more quiet, less is more. I like someone I used to follow, Orrin Harris, he would always say slow is the new fast. So you want to slow down and catch the wave. And I'm feeling all of this. So pay attention to your dreams is the message here. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for watching the replay. If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them in the replay of this video. I'm going to ask if there are any, last minute questions or comments before I hop off. But if not, I'll definitely be back, I believe, Wednesday next week. I should be here. So if there are some topics or anything that you would like me to chat about, if you ever want to hop on and share a dream, I'm definitely down to have you on with me live and connect with me to interpret your dreams. Yay, you're welcome. Awesome. Well, my little one sounds like she's needing me, possibly. But thank you for joining. Thank you. And I'll see you next week, hopefully. Take care.